I go to a lot of places alone, not because I'm cool and mysterious, but because I'm kind of a loser with no friends. That's a lie, I have friends, but I do spend a lot of my time alone. And I don't mind it. I like being able to walk through museums at my own pace, listening to my own music. And at a picnic, I enjoy sitting by myself and maybe drawing or something. But just because I like being alone doesn't mean I never feel lonely. Loneliness is not something I notice every day, but there are certain moments, especially holidays, when it hits. Days like New Year's, Midsummer, or my birthday. I spent my 20th birthday alone, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I went to my favorite restaurant, brought myself some new clothes, and I got myself a cake. I had fun, genuinely, and I went to bed happy that night. But a couple days later, one of my friends, who has a birthday close to mine, posted on her Instagram about how her friends had thrown her a surprise party, and her smile was so bright in all the pictures. I went to bed a little less happy that night. Obviously, I wasn't mad at her for posting about her birthday. That would be ridiculous. I was happy for her, but I don't know. Knowing that I didn't smile as brightly as she did on my birthday made me feel like I was missing out. And that's the kind of weird contradicting feelings I have. I had fun on my birthday. Really. But when I compared it to the celebration of someone else, I didn't feel as happy anymore. I guess it made me fully aware that I had spent a milestone usually celebrated with friends and family completely alone. Weird how comparisons make things feel less fulfilling. Now, whenever someone asks me what I did for my birthday, I lie because I don't want to seem sad. I tell them that I went to dinner with friends. Friends who, you don't know them. They go to a different school in Canada. But sometimes it's not the actual loneliness that hurts, but rather how other people react to it. Like one time, my friend and I were at the movies, and some girl was sitting next to us completely alone. And when we were walking out of the theater, my friend said to me, "Aw, poor her, she came here all by herself." And I couldn't help but think that the girl my friend was pitying would usually be me. And not once had I thought, "Aw, poor me, I'm here by myself." But whatever, me and my friend just have different standards, I guess, and that's fine. But hearing someone else point it out like that kind of hurt. But whatever. That's not the first time I've realized other people's pity towards me, whether directly or indirectly. I have plenty of other experiences. For example, parties. They aren't really my cup of tea. I know, who could have guessed? A YouTuber is an introvert. But my reason for not liking parties is that they're loud and there's too many people. And when I do end up going, I come up with some clever excuse to leave early. But that's not the point. It's that not going to parties makes me think about how other people view me. Like back in high school, my mom would sit me down every once in a while and ask me why I didn't go out. And when I said I didn't want to and I didn't like the loudness or how there were so many people, she wouldn't believe me. She kept asking over and over and over and over again, as if I had some other deeper reason to not go. And I'm sure my mom meant well, but after these conversations I felt a little embarrassed about not going out so much, even though I knew that if I did go, I'd probably hate it. These types of reminders make me feel a little lonely, because being alone itself doesn't bother me. It's more the way other people see it. When people confront me about it or express their pity for someone in a similar situation, I feel a bit ashamed of the fact that I do so many things by myself. But even so, I do sometimes get jealous. Not in a bitter way, more like in a longing way. I feel longing towards those tight-knit friend groups of around 5 people or so, with their active group chats and weekend plans. I wonder what it's like to always have people to go to events with, or to get multiple opinions on something that happened in your life. But what I envy the most is having a best friend. Someone who gets you, who confides in you, who goes everywhere with you, and who also considers you their best friend. But I also know the reason I don't have a best friend like that is my own self-sabotage. Sometimes going to places alone, especially social events, is scary, and staying home is fun, so I just don't end up going. But how can I broaden or deepen my friendships if I stay at home all day? I know I've missed a lot of experiences because I've been too scared to go alone. But even more importantly, and I know this is common, I'm scared of rejection. Avoiding rejection is like a reflex at this point. I leave the classroom the second a lecture is over. I say I prefer working alone even if I don't. I reject people before they can even reject me. It's a defense mechanism, but it also kind of sucks. So, turns out the problem might have actually been me. Who could have guessed? But weirdly, feeling a bit sad sometimes motivates me to be more productive. It kind of feels this need to prove something to myself. Like one time I went through a couple days of just staying inside not really doing much, and I decided that I had had enough and planned out an entire week of sightseeing in my own city. I went to see landmarks, a couple museums, and I saw a few plays. And though I did this all alone, I was happy. I went to bed genuinely excited for my plans for the next day. A similar thing happened to me last midsummer, which I spent alone for the first time. I baked a white chocolate s'mores cake, put on a summer dress, sat on my balcony with a drink and listened to summer music. And I enjoyed my day. But later that night I couldn't help but feel a little weird. Not sad, exactly, but like with my birthday, aware of the fact that I had spent a day meant to be celebrated with family and friends completely alone. But like before, that moment did motivate me to be more productive. I created a list of things I wanted to achieve and experience, one of which was growing this YouTube channel. So, hope you're proud past me. So if you're like me and spend a lot of time by yourself, that's okay. I may not be the best person to give advice on this topic, but what has worked for me is to make the most of it. There's plenty of things that you can do alone, and it just depends on your interests, whether it's hiking or museums. And I like planning ahead, because even if it's small, like trying a new recipe or going for a walk, it gives me something to look forward to. And most importantly, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but comparison is the thief of joy. I know not comparing yourself to others is easier said than done, but remember, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And you know what else matters? Subscribing to this channel. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I hope this video came across more as relatable than tragic, because I am doing okay. I may not have a main friend group, but I do have friends who I care about and who care about me. And I am learning to show up to places. So just know that loneliness is only a part of my life. It isn't my whole life. And neither is it yours. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!